Hello everyone and welcome to episode 201 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week I'm joined by Jake.
Howdy.
And Shane.
Hello.
This week we're mostly going to be talking about the PlayStation State of Play. It's really the only thing that's been happening at the moment. Sega's been talking a little bit about some stuff as well. There's a little bit of news. I saw a Bloomberg article about games being too expensive, but I don't know. I mean, I think we could just go, yeah, they probably are, and then just move on from that. I don't know. There's not much to say there.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot you can talk about there.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's also something we haven't talked about ad nauseum on the show.
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
Not at all.
Exactly. Can you imagine wanting to pay more for things?
Yeah.
As always, you do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Come say hi, hang out in the chat. We try to respond and interact with you guys as much as possible throughout the show. But first, let's jump into a community question here from Red Ninja Dan, who says, seeing this question going around on social media, who do you think is more evil, Umbrella or Vault-Tec?
Ooh.
So, I feel like I'm gonna go with Vault-Tec. I finally been starting to watch Fallout. I've only 6 episodes into the first season, and I'm learning a lot. I thought I knew the lore decent. Going in I played 3 New Vegas and 4 and like 100 hours and 76, and so I thought I was pretty okay on the lore. And I think I didn't really realize just how evil Vault-Tec was. And I'm discovering more about how evil they are.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I don't know if this might be showing ignorance of my Resident Evil knowledge as well. But I don't know how inherently evil Umbrella necessarily was. As much as there were like bad actors in Umbrella who ended up driving it.
I mean, they did invent the T virus and the G virus, and literally were like, yeah, we're just gonna make we literally invented zombies.
Yeah, but then Vault-Tec essentially did that however many Vault-Fold.
That's
you know
true.
I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're probably right. I think
they didn't do just one experience; they did many.
And I don't know. Was that what Umbrella was? Was that Umbrella's objective? Was that their goal? So to create zombies, or were they just being scientists and they discovered this, and then some scientists were like, "Whoa, we better slow down," and other scientists were like, "No, we can make super soldiers out of this."
Yeah.
I mean, that was their goal, was to make bioweapons. So,
Bioweapons, yeah. They're biological
That's
weapons
fair.
manufacturer.
That's fair. However, this isn't a spoiler cast, so I don't feel like I can talk. The episode I watched last night just really hit. There was a scene where I was like, "Oh shit, that makes a lot of sense." I'm gonna try to be as vague as possible, but the people who've seen the show will understand. Where the in the past, before the bombs dropped, the one of the cowboy character was sitting at a bar, and his old colleague was talking to him.
Yeah.
About fiduciary responsibility or whatever.
Yep.
That scene that was put into a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I think actually I came in here reading this question and I was like, well, clearly it's Resident Evil's Umbrella is crazy. They're a worldwide organization who have been testing bioweapons on populations and all kinds of fucked up shit. But it's but actually, yeah, Vault-Tec really did have they were pretty bad from the ground up. They were yeah, no, we're just going to, do crazy experiments and fuck with things and make vaults that make things horrible for people. And yeah, and especially with how season 1 and 2 of Fallout TV show have kind of expanded on that. Yeah,
I was gonna say we don't need to get into even the shows to spoil how evil they are. I mean, from the first game, it has been a Vault-Tec's awful.
Yeah, I don't think I've explored watching the show makes me want to, and I've been doing this. I've been starting to finally get into my nerdy lore deep diving phase of my life. I know, finally, I'm not just matching through cutscenes anymore. And no, I mean, I've always been interested.
So you don't have murder podcasts. You got to look at video game lore.
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly. Yeah.
I've always been, I've always been a story-driven gamer. but I find I don't read like logbooks very much or like codex entries and things. But I'm finally starting to take the time and do that kind of thing, and it really makes me want to go. I've been itching for a Fallout 3 playthrough. Fingers crossed they do Shadow drop a remake. But it really makes me want to just go through these games and just actually like read lore entries and codex entries and absorb the world.
The Fallout is one of the few series where I will stop and read every email. I'll stop and read every journal. I'll dig through people's documents and belongings to find clues of what happened. And I love that lore. I love digging through old abandoned buildings for stuff. It's so much fun.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of like game involvement or investment where I'm like, I need to know everything about this. And some of that's like, I really enjoy like the Souls series, the FromSoft stuff, where it's like, again, a lot of the story you have to do digging to figure out like what the fuck's going on. And then you get like, I think the last thing that really sort of caught me was like Mass Effect, that sort of trilogy in that world. And just like I read every codex entry and I loved all like the interesting things about all the races and like how they interact and the history and like First Contact War.
Yeah. It really has to be the right game too. Because I've tried it numerous times. I'm like, okay, I'm going to read everything about the game and understand this world more than just the surface level story. And I remember actually trying to start doing that with like Remember Me, and I didn't. I just dropped it because eventually it wasn't super engaging, all the codex entries. So I think it just depends on the game you're doing to where it's like where you should do that kind of thing.
BioShock is one that comes to mind that reminds me of that, of like just such an interesting sort of setting and like world, and like I think it helps when you like BioShock in particular helps because like you stumbled upon a world where the shit's gone down and there's a big history behind what the fuck happened, and like there's like, we're not just like, oh, it's the opening of Rapture and things have gone wrong. It's like, no, you're here like after the cataclysm, and you kind of need to piece together what the fuck's gone wrong and who the players are, and like, you know. Right, Red Ninja Dan, question asker, is actually here in the chat. He says, the Elder Scrolls for me. Yeah, Elder Scrolls definitely has that vibe too. I feel like it...
That's what's gotten me into it, is been playing ESO. And ESO was one where I was like, MMOs, other than RuneScape, because RuneScape has the best storytelling of all time.
Of course.
In their quests.
Yep.
Every other MMO, it was just like, accept the quest, go do the quest. And I picked up that habit from WoW because that was all like, the quest there was no voice acting. So that was all just like pick up the quest, and it was all pretty unconsequential what you're doing, and like the quests were all, you know, mostly go kill 10 boars or go kill 15 birds or something. So it's like the story I didn't care ever about what was going on. But recently in ESO, since I'm playing that a lot, I have been like slowing down and listening to, because it's all fully voice acted MMO. So I've been slowing down and listening to the quest, which has in turn got me interested in the lore. So when I go pick up the lore books, I've been reading them, and I've been using the wiki to like refresh myself on certain key characters and stuff that they're talking about that I don't fully understand. And that's what's gotten me into starting to slow down and read. So for sure, Red Ninja Dan on Elder Scrolls games.
Chin Doctor disagrees. He thinks that getting into lore is bad for you, apparently. Which, you know, but he's a man who skips
he's a doctor,
and plays
so
games on mute.
Outside of video games, even I've been starting to go through old Magic sets and read flavor text on cards.
Nice.
All hail Phyrexia. Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny actually, because I saw an article, I think it was last week, talking about the success of the Fallout show, and they were like, you know, would you do like a Elder Scrolls, you know, take on that? And them being like, probably not, because like fantasy is a lot harder to do than a world that's as unique as Fallout is. I mean, obviously the Elder Scrolls has its unique parts to it, but it is riffing on a lot of fantasy stuff. It's like, oh, guess what? You see a dragon.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, fucking dragons have been in every fucking fantasy thing forever. And I can kind of like that's the one thing that sort of stopped me from super getting into the lore, was that like it is, I'm not going to say standard fantasy fare, right? Because it's almost a progenitor of sorts in terms of like the type, like Elder Scrolls has been around for so long, and it takes them so fucking long to make these games that lore, a lot of that lore stuff is things that we've just kind of had in video games for a long time, and a lot of that's like riffing off of like Dungeons and Dragons back in the 80s and things like that. But
yeah,
yeah, I find fantasy stuff like I love fantasy as a concept, and I enjoy fantasy storytelling, and like I'm reading a book that's like sort of like like a relatively gritty fantasy novel at the moment, but it's is I can definitely see that the tricky bits of like how do you get someone invested in something that they feel like they already know everything all about.
Yeah. I feel like high fantasy is pretty much just high fantasy. I feel like it's hard to do. What is it about high fantasy versus sci-fi that makes it like where high fantasy is a lot more like run of the mill fantasy stuff. Even if they do something in fantasy that's never been done before, it still just kind of feels like this is your typical high fantasy thing. Where it's like I feel like so many different sci-fi universes are so uniquely interesting, even though it's like it's not this it's not quite the same thing, but it's like I feel like if high fantasy did something entirely new that no one's done before, I'd be a lot less impressed than like a mind-blowing sci-fi world that no one's ever done before.
Sure.
I don't know why that is. I don't know how to explain.
I have the exact same feeling, yeah. And I think that Kirby points out that like because high fantasy is basically all standing on Tolkien's shoulders, generally speaking, which I think is maybe a slight overgeneralization, but definitely there's definitely a kernel of truth to that. In terms of like.
Well, just imagine if Amazon picked up Elder Scrolls. Did everyone be like, "Isn't this Ring of Power? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, that's exactly right.
This?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's maybe the thing where it's like, yeah, elves weren't regal and shit until Tolkien. Yeah. But
you ever look into the magic lore? Elves aren't regal and shit.
No, yeah, exactly.
Magic lore is superior to Tolkien. I agree.
But I think there's, I think maybe there's potentially more flexibility in the idea of expanding beyond what we already know today. Where it's like if you do high fantasy, it's basically like, okay, cool, we need to go back in time before we had technology, so that limits you and what you can do in terms of like your settings or your people and that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, magic is kind of the only really thing we can do here that's different. Maybe I don't know. But it's like, okay, but magic is like, what do you call magic? It's like, oh, we gave it a different name and it does something slightly different. But at the end of the day, the guy still burst into flames when I pointed him. Whereas like sci-fi, maybe you get something like Star Wars, which is like more like science fantasy in terms of like it has actual magic in it and shit and, knights and things like that. It's sort of a take. And so maybe it's a blending of the two that maybe is more interesting. But I don't know. But also, some people really don't like sci-fi. Some people are like, I don't care about that science fiction shit. So
maybe it's more like sci-fi resonates more easily with people because it's like you can envision yourself in that world.
Yeah, you can
like, oh, this is in the future. Yeah, it's like, oh wow, how cool would that be if that
people like cyberpunk because they're like, man, this is really fucking scarily prescient, but also I have blades coming out of my arms and I can stab a man from jumping off a wall. So,
yeah.
Is Shadowrun sci-fi or fantasy? Well, I'd say it's sci-fi. It has fantasy elements in it, but
I'd say sci-fi.
Yeah.
I feel like once sci-fi's added, it's just sci-fi.
Pretty much, yeah. But then you've also seen a million takes on, we're the technological society and we're fighting the magical society, and it's like, well, okay. Even Final Fantasy's done that, so I'm like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well.
Yeah, what is Final Fantasy these days? Is Final Fantasy a high fantasy or a sci-fi game?
I think it depends on the game, right? Like I feel like
squarely fantasy, right? Like
16 was definitely fantasy in terms of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 was sci-fi.
Yeah, 15 was yes, because 15 had fucking cars. So yeah, it's like.
Yeah. Cars and cup of noodles.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it had brands in it, so clearly it's sci-fi.
What about the more line blurry ones though? Like 4 and 6 is what I think about often.
I mean, 6 had
they had Magitech.
Magitech, yeah, which I guess is like the idea of like that's almost like the equivalent of going like steampunk or diesel punk.
Yeah, but so you're getting into steampunk at that point.
Yeah, where you're like it's technological, but in a branch that we didn't go down or whatever. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, it's technology, but it's powered by the idea of magic as an energy source.
I like Kirby pointing out 10 because that one is like it's high fantasy because it's post sci-fi world.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Almost.
Which again, why 10 is the best one. Yeah, no, the 10 is a great shout because it is, yeah, it is almost like post-apocalyptic, like yeah,
Yeah.
sci-fi world.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had such a good time going through 10.
We're making a lot of nerds angry. We should
Yeah,
probably move on
100%.
from
This is
this genre topic.
yeah, this is the lore episode.
This is gonna get clipped somewhere, and people are getting mad.
Exactly. Hey man, all engagement's good engagement, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Fantasy's stupid. No one
Yeah,
likes
exactly.
it anyway.
All right, well, let's get into the news. Thank you for the question, Red Ninja Dan. I know we strayed far from the topic as we always do.
That was a tangent for sure.
But I always
Very
enjoy it.
fun tangent.
Couple of things here from Sega before we kind of get into some of the other news. Sega says that apparently its new releases are not doing super well. Especially Sonic Rumble have fallen below expectations. They said they've had quality issues and stagnant growth in sales in other games. Like, what do you guys, in terms of like Sega games recently, is there anything that springs to mind?
I mean, Yakuza.
Besides, yeah, I mean, Yakuza Pirates and the Sonic Racing game that got pretty good reviews.
Yeah.
I don't. I can't. All of a sudden, I forgot every game that ever existed. But I feel like Sega was on like a crazy hot streak for a while. Actually, like recently,
Mm.
you know, kind of banger after banger.
I think you're right. I think Capcom's kind of picked that up now.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. Okay. Capcom's just been like, they've also been putting out a lot of stuff pretty quickly, or fairly quickly at least.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently their free-to-play stuff is not doing super well. Angry Bird stuff has also not been doing because they acquired Rovio.
Yeah, they bought Rovio forever ago.
Yeah.
Well, a couple years ago,
What
but
did
still.
Sega make?
I mean, apparently, like, they didn't name what games were underperforming, but considering they put out Football Manager 26, and I don't think it did super great, that's probably not a great one.
Yeah.
Let's look at.
Yeah.
But also, like, free-to-play
see
stuff
what they
is
published
such
recently.
it's such a hard time. Like, this whole Sonic Rumble thing, I remember not hearing anything good about it, and no one being interested in it.
I didn't even know about it.
And then the only other, like, big game they put out last year was, or was it last year? Yeah, last year was Persona 3, right? Was that Reload? That was last year? Beginning of last year, I think, right? Or was that the year before? I don't even remember. I'm just trying to think, because Atlas hasn't put out anything since... Oh, the Switch 2 version of Persona 3 Reload came out last year, but... Yeah, I guess, like, yeah, Sega, I guess, has had maybe a bit of a quiet year last year in terms of, like, Atlas hasn't put out anything...
You know, I'm looking at 2025, and like, there's definitely some good stuff in here, but yeah, there's not like anything where I'm like, oh yeah, that was a year-defining game. Like they have, like a Dragon Pyre Yakuza,
which was good.
Shinobi Art of Vengeance, Sonic Crossworlds,
2 Point Museum, which people like that series, but
oh yeah, true.
David, it's like 3 deep now.
Warhammer 40k Space Marine looks like, I think that was the remake. That must have been.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah, that's a solid year of games, but nothing's crazy.
Yeah, they're not making money hand over fist. I guess they need to get a new Persona out the door, or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But speaking of which, they have also revealed that they've got like 4 new games. So Sega reveals plans for 4 new games for its most important IPs by the end of March 2027. So end of this financial year, or end of next financial year, I should say, because we are still in February. They didn't say which IPs they would be, but I don't know. Do we have any thoughts about, like, I mean, I'm assuming Persona...
I mean, aren't we waiting on all those remakes they had announced, like Crazy Taxi and Golden Axe? And...
True. Yep. Because they did do Shinobi, right? That came out last year. But that was pretty much it so far, right? Yeah, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe. We haven't got a date for the new Persona 4 remake or re-release or whatever. They did announce Total War, that 40k Total War game and all that sort of stuff, but and Virtua Fighter. But I don't know. We haven't seen anything about a new Sonic game or anything like that, have we?
Sonic 06 remake.
I mean,
Not
we can keep dreaming.
the car.
Oh yeah, I forgot Alien Isolation. They've got a new Alien Isolation game in development. I wonder if that's going to come out in the next year or so.
Oh, that'd be big if they did that. I think people would get behind that one pretty quick.
Yeah.
Scrolling. Yes. I thought Sega had a top grossing mobile platform game, but I guess not. I just went through the whole list and yeah, their Sega game fell off for the Sonic one.
Yep.
Well.
But we got an Angry
They're not
Birds
making
3 movie
$18 billion.
to look forward to in December. So that's
In the year of our Lord, this 2026. Okay, I'm sure that'll be gangbusters.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
IP's gone, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, since mobile gaming basically died, or at least like that type.
I mean, we're still waiting our Backrooms and Skibbity Toilet movies. Those are really hot topics right now. So
that's true. Apparently, Sega also has movies and TV projects for Golden Axe, Shinobi, Streets of Rage, Eternal Champions, House of the Dead, and Outrun. So stay tuned.
Hey man, a Shinobi show could be cool.
It could be actually kind of good. We don't see a lot of ninja stuff these days.
Like a Shinobi anime.
Yeah, actually, the Shinobi anime I'm kind of down for.
That Predator versus Ninja part of the more recent Killer Killers movie, that was very cool. So I'd be down for some more ninja stuff.
All right. But yeah, so I guess a few Sega things going on there. They just kind of had their financial year reporting. We're in that season now where it's we're getting towards March for the end of the financial year, and a lot of this stuff is like, oh, how did your Christmas stuff go, and what are the numbers looking like? And game industry's fucked as usual, but one place that's particularly fucked is Highguard. Yeah.
Wildlight.
So Wildlight Entertainment, if you didn't catch it last week, basically laid off a large portion of their development studio last week. It was kind of in between the episodes, so we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. But yeah, for those who don't know, obviously Highguard was the game that was widely touted by one Jeff Keighley at the end of the Game Awards last year. Got the one last thing top spot. He gave it to them for free because he was like, this is going to be the next big thing. And yeah, they had 100,000 concurrent players on Steam when it started, and now they're sitting at about 5,000 for the last week. And it doesn't look like they're going to be super sustainable. They have been making updates to the game, but yeah, there's definitely been some consternation. The game's been review bombed. It's been kind of shat on a lot. A lot of people are calling it too.
I feel like, because I've seen a lot, this is what I've seen the most about in the gaming circles I'm around, the news are surrounding this. And it's like, it's one of those things where I feel like, everyone's saying, oh, because Jeff showcased it so much. And that's why people dogpiled on it and are hating on it so much. I feel like, just based on the gameplay I've seen, and then the people who've stepped back and taken the level-headed approach in viewing the game, who are like, I've dumped 30 hours into this game, here are my thoughts. All the noise be damned, here are my thoughts. It's one of those things where it's just I feel like if Jeff hadn't pushed it, it still would be a 5,000 concurrent player game, because my understanding is it's just pretty mid. It's just not up to bat with the current free-to-play landscape. So yeah, it's a shame. You don't like to see people get laid off, but it's I don't think the Game Awards are to blame or Jeff was to blame. It was probably just not it.
Yeah, and I think that there's I don't know. I saw a lot of discussion on Twitter about this, because the thing that sort of spurned this was one of the developers has basically come out and written a twit longer around his experience working on the thing and how. I'll read out some of the stuff here. So Josh Sobel was one of the laid off. He was a tech artist and he was laid off. One of the people laid off, and he basically said he claimed that the feedback from the team that received prior to the reveal, even from unbiased sources, quote unquote, was widely positive. People saying there's no game, the way this game will flop, it'll be a mainstream written all over it. One project no one in the industry is worried about failing, it's yours. And I'm like, yeah, but it's they didn't do any public beta tests or any of this. The first time we saw and heard about this game was at the Game Awards, and then it came out 2 months later. There was no public beta, no one got access to it early, no one kind of got to talk about it or do anything with it.
Yeah.
And so Sobel is basically claiming that like the Game Awards are the reason why all the negativity came in, and that they get 10 times the engagement. But I feel like you're right, Jake. Like the game is the game, and like it. Here's the thing, right? They got 100,000 people playing this game, even as a meme, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the game was good,
Yeah.
people would have stuck with it. Like if it was compelling, and if even if they discovered it as a joke, they'd be like, actually, this game's like really fun. I'm really actually having a good time with it. They would have stuck with it, and maybe 5,000 people did, but like, I don't know.
I feel
Yeah,
like this is just another case of they're having their expectations were so unreasonably high.
Yeah,
There's no way this was gonna just become the next Overwatch overnight. I feel like they had no, I don't know, runway to work through their budget in any way, shape, or form. It was ride or die. First week we didn't do it, boom, lay everybody off. Instead
Yeah.
of letting it grow and build a community and
But even then, they just didn't release a game that it targets the demographic they were targeting, because this was it's a free to play competitive game, competitive shooter is how it was marketed. So they didn't release a game where for their target demographic in the same landscape that Fortnite exists, that Marvel Rivals exists, that what's the freaking Riot one, CS:GO and the other
Valorant.
one that I always forget about, Valorant. Like, I saw one of my favorite takes I've seen on this so far. Guy on TikTok, DK Roman. I almost always agree with his takes. DK Roman. Excuse me, not DK Roman. He basically was like, the problem is when you release a game like this, you have two main demographics, the hyper competitives and the hyper casuals. And Highguard failed to appeal to both of them, because for the hyper competitive, this was basically just gunfights. There was no like higher skill ceiling where you feel like your choices really matter. You can like engage in specific strategic way outside of just gunfights. So you were not appealing to your competitive crowd who felt like they could dump 1,000 hours and actually get an edge. And the casual crowd, this might sound superficial, but like the casual crowd is here for for other than playing with their friends and whatever and just having a good time, like skins, like fun things to grind for, different game modes. So you release a game where your demographic is novelty, is hyper competitive or casual, and you just didn't appeal to either. In a game in a landscape where Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, and Overwatch exists.
exactly.
Like,
And I think that like Kirby in the chat, it's like, is it bad because it's bad, or is it bad because it's been there, done that with that kind of gameplay? And it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, this isn't. Being surprised of this is like putting out a square box with wheels and trying to take market share away from cars. Like, unless you're doing something really, really interesting and different. And like, they had a couple of ideas in there, maybe, but they didn't test them, or at least they didn't test them with public, and they didn't get wide enough appeal. Like, I feel like having it. I keep coming back to this like public beta thing, but like I feel like if you get Jeff going, hey, I'm going to shadow drop you, or I'm going to like shadow announce your game at the Game Awards for free, like you need to have something ready for that, right? You need to be like, cool, and you can test it out today, and like let us know and give us feedback. Because like even when like they got announced, there was like radio silence from the devs, and people were like, is this game still coming out? Like I feel like like it's crazy to think that like it's a free to play game. Yeah, I don't know. I think.
See, to my point, they didn't have any time to also build to it. Fortnite, we all know Fortnite was the biggest game in the world the first week it came out, obviously. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
So I wish these developers, and same with I don't think we talk about it here, but 2KXO, same thing.
Yes.
Like that game came out and just they didn't have time to grow it and maybe develop a community and nothing. It didn't work. Boom, lay everybody off. That's just another sign that this isn't sustainable, man. It's really not. I don't know what these people are expecting, but they're not going to just create the next Fortnite right off the bat. They could, but let's face it, that's like winning the lottery.
They're taking the EA mindset to everything, where I felt like EA kept trying to release a live service game every year, and after it wasn't Destiny in a month, they
They canned it,
Pulled the plug.
try to get the new one, and then
Immediately.
eventually they had something with Apex, but that was like took them quite a few attempts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And like I was somewhat curious about playing this game, maybe mostly for the achievements, and apparently it's relatively straightforward. But I don't know. I feel like all the buzz, even from like you said, Jake, from level-headed people who are just like, I'm just going to talk about this game as it is, being like, yeah, this is not ready for prime time. This is, and it does really feel like a lot of these studios, and I wonder sometimes it's like, where did the money come from to fund this stuff? It's like as soon as they don't see a return in that first week, the questions get asked and they have to start making cuts immediately. And it's like, how are you planning on having a sustainable live service model? Like if your game needs to get 100,000 people in day one and keep them for the next 4 weeks, and get them buying stuff because you're a free to play game, for you to even break even, to be able to start on your live service journey of roadmaps and changes and all that kind of shit. Like it just, yeah. But it also feels like this game is like too little too late in terms of like they missed the boat majorly in terms of where those things are. It's like if you came out with a MOBA today, it feels like, okay, that's kind of nuts. Then again, I mean, Deadlock is kind of also a thing, but that's Valve, so they also kind of have their own thing going on. But it just, yeah, it feels like they've chased a trend that ended 5 years ago.
Yeah. Highguard can't hang. Is the summary.
Yeah.
Highguard can't hang.
Eat cringe, as the kids would say. I think I got that right.
I have maybe a minor side tangent here,
Sure.
but games in the recent memory, last decade for sure, have become incredibly hyper trend chasey. Even in the last 10 years. Like obviously there was, everyone was trying to become like a live service game, and then everyone was trying to become Fortnite. But even in the Xbox 360 era, Call of Duty was a breakout hit, and then everyone was chasing the multiplayer trend.
Yeah, and even before that, it was Halo,
thing.
right? It was like, this is the Halo killer. This was like...
That's what I was just about to ask, and because maybe I just was not paying a close enough attention, or I was too young. Was this really a thing before Call of Duty 4, where like you saw such massive trend chasing in game dev?
I mean, there were a lot of turn-based RPGs around when Final Fantasy came out.
That's true.
And there were a lot of games that seemed like Secret of Mana, especially during PlayStation.
But
era,
is that
a lot of repeats, especially like Crash?
Is that trend chasing, or just like, we're just making a game in this genre?
Were there trends though? There wasn't like an online community. There wasn't, a way for us to go, oh, have you seen this new blank, which is like blank on Twitter? And I think no,
Dark Souls meets a platformer. Yeah, for sure.
There wasn't trends though. You know what I mean? So I think it's just one of those things that was birthed with social media.
But I think
to your point, you're right. There wasn't trend chasing.
I think that a lot of that trend chasing stuff came from the Western market in particular, which is like, hyper capitalist and hyper like competitive, and like we need to make sure that we're on the money for this stuff. Whereas like, I mean, obviously not to say that there isn't that sort of stuff in like, the Japanese market, but I think more of that was like, hey, I like this kind of game, so I'm going to make this kind of game. And I wonder if that's partly to, I mean, like taking like licensed games out of the contention, because that was really just literal cash grab stuff of just trying to tie things in.
Yeah.
But you had something like, you had the sort of mascot platformer trend of like the PlayStation and like that era, maybe.
You know what? Yeah. You're 100% right. And it's not even just like you're making a game in this similar genre. No, because Sonic was a direct answer to Mario. So that was Sega saying, we need to do what Nintendo's doing because they're printing money. We need to print money, so we need to do that too. So I guess it always has been a thing in some way or another.
Yeah, although like I feel like that's like competing, not necessarily trend chasing. I mean, like Nintendo had something that was successful, and Sega was like, cool, we should also do that, which is like, but is that a trend, or is that just
free market capitalism?
Yeah, exactly.
Is free market capitalism just trend following?
I mean,
can we just how
far
can we unravel it?
Getting to the macroeconomics part of the podcast now.
Yeah, exactly. One of these days. but yeah, I think it's an interesting one. The first thing that sort of came to mind though was like Crash Bandicoot was very clearly a a question of like, well, Sony has now entered this market with a new console, and the first thing they do, they're like, we need to have a mascot platformer. And so it was like, obviously, like Sega had done some stuff before that. Nintendo had done like Mario, obviously, and they, and it was like, cool. We need to have Sonic because we need to have like platformers are popular. Let's make a cool platformer. And then it was like, cool, that's established. We've had like 3 or 4 of these now. We've had a bunch of Mario games, and PlayStation comes in and is like, we're doing a Crash Bandicoot. We're doing a guy who fucking wears denim cutoffs and is a marsupial from a country that most people haven't heard of. Like, that's the first one that really springs to mind. And then it was like Insomniac doing like Spyro. And it's like, okay, cool. Slightly different type of platformer, but very much that. Like, I think 3D platforming is the first trend chasing, like, and really point to be like, every fucking game was a 3D platformer back then, because it was the first time like 3D had become a thing, and platforming was a nice, easy way to show that off as like, well, guess what? We have this 3D world. You can now jump through them. And like, it's like get things like Croc, and then you had,
Gex,
Gex, fucking Bubsy, like, I think and again, maybe this is just me being a kid, right? But I feel like, to my mind, it didn't feel cynical in the same way that it does now. And that might just be because of online communities and that sort of stuff. Whereas, like,
I think it might be kids and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's like, it might have just been that I was a kid and it was like, yeah, cool. They made more games that are kind of like this one that I like, so I'll play that. Whereas, like, now I look at it and go, cool. Dota was hugely successful. So we had Heroes of New Earth, we had Dawn Guard, and we had League of Legends, and then we had
Guardians of Middle Earth.
Yeah, Guardians of Middle. Like, we had, everyone was like MOBAs, and they're like, cool, let's get on that, let's do that. And it was the same thing was like, you had like, I guess like Doom clones was the thing, but again, that wasn't necessarily like trying to take money away from Doom. It was like, we want to do a cool first person shooter. Whereas now,
that's what it felt like, right?
Yeah, exactly. It feels like, oh, I want more games in the genre. I like this genre. I want to make more games in it. Where now it feels like publishers being like, we need to get on this gravy train immediately. We need to have, like you said with like Call of Duty, it was like, cool. Every game had a modern military shooter, and it was like, this is the COD killer, this is the Halo killer, this is the sci-fi version, and then it was MOBAs, then it was battle royales.
You're getting competitive multiplayer in games where it didn't belong. It makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
2, Assassin's Creed.
Dead Space 2 had fucking multiplayer in it for some fucking reason.
Granted, to an extent,
I don't know if how to do it.
The Assassin's Creed multiplayer like got kind of fun.
Yeah.
If you like, I think by the like Revelations or 4, it was like, okay, this is actually kind of sick. But
yeah,
it still didn't belong.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely feel like it was like that Battle Royale trend was the one that really opened my eyes. Because I saw the MOBA trend and then Battle Royale immediately afterwards, because it was like, PUBG is doing hugely successful. Fortnite went from being a tower defense game to being like, hey, we're going to make a free Battle Royale mode and just literally steal what PUBG are doing. And suddenly it became the biggest game the world has ever seen. Like, it's crazy how that trend went. And then it became like, okay, well, people want more than just that, so we're going to do extraction games. And then we're going to do, I guess, where do we go from there? I guess it was like Extraction was probably the latest one that I can think of as a trend.
Yeah, I think we're just heading into that, because we've got Marathon coming, we'll talk about shortly, and so
again, like Marathon also feels like
because Arc Raiders hit.
Yeah, Arc Raiders did very well last year, but it also feels like that trend is also kind of on the way out a little bit, or at least, I don't know, because Tarkov has been around for a long time too.
Yeah, but just like how Fortnite really, I mean, I guess PUBG technically, but Fortnite really took off battle royales. Arc Raiders seems to be doing that for extraction shooters, where now it's going to be
mainstream.
We got Marathon. I think Marathon will get a boost from how well Arc Raiders did, because if they go, oh, it's just Arc Raiders, that gives it a little more clout than before Arc Raiders.
I can definitely see that.
Maybe we're entering into the extraction shooter trend. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see if there are going to be any other people who try to get onto that trend, or if, I don't know, like.
And then, I mean, and then it's funny. I feel like Kirby's making some good points in the chat too, about how we're focusing on it being a lot of, it feels like kind of soulless companies just reaching for your cash grab, but the thing kind of happens too a lot in the indie space as well, like specifically with like roguelites and survivor games, and
Metroidvanias.
But is to your, and I'm sure there's some of this where it's just like, this Sons of the Forest did really well. I'm going to make Survivor Gaming Crash Grab too.
Yeah.
So how much of it is that, and how much in the indie space is it the earlier point of roguelikes? I really like this game, and I want to make my own and make more in the genre because I really like it. I feel like that's more likely to happen in the indie space, and you're still going to get in just like mass amounts of these games, especially because indie game development is more accessible than it's ever been. So somebody can really just easily go, I really like roguelikes, I'm going to make one. But I'm sure there's still some amount of just like gravy train cash grabbing.
Oh, for sure. Like there's still a business, right? But for sure, you have less of a publisher telling you, "Hey, you need to sell this. Like this is popular." Less people in a boardroom being like, "You need to make sure you hit these milestones and have these things in your game." It's really funny, actually. I always go back to this old Penny Arcade comic, which was when Darksiders came out. And they did a thing where it's like, oh man, I really enjoy Darksiders, and it's like it pans over and it's like Link, but he's like has like a shadow for a face, and he's like super buff and shit. And it's like, yeah, it's basically Zelda, but with Grimdark on it. And I think was it Dante's Inferno came out at the same time, and they were comparing the two games, and they were like, yeah, Dante's Inferno is just like a real rip off of God of War. But it's like, Darkseid is an homage. It's like, well, what's the difference? Like, well, I like Darksiders, but I don't like Dante's Inferno. And I think that's kind of where it is, where it's like, if the game's bad and it doesn't feel like it's doing anything new and it feels like a blatant cash grab or just a blatant trend chasing thing, then yeah, you point to it and go, come on, guys, I get... Like, Apex Legends, as good of a game as I know a lot of people say it is, like, very much was a response to the Battle Royale genre, right? And whereas, like, yeah, I think the Metroidvania thing, especially in the indie space, is like, yeah, there are a shitload of Metroidvania games out there. But a lot of people have been inspired by, like Castlevania. It's like, oh shit, we haven't had a Castlevania game in, what, like 3 generations just about? And it's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking... it's the Thanos, I'll do it myself shit. Like, I'll just fucking get in there and I'll make a cool game from a genre that I really like. And if I make if I happen to sell Hollow Knight copies, that's a good fucking thing to make. Obviously there's a demand. But, yeah, there's a lot lost quick copies to fund their passion project. Yeah, there is also that too, right? Like, you need to make sure that you make something people are going to buy. But I totally understand Kirby's point around like the sort of pick 3 roguelike kind of games getting a bit old. I'm fucking tired of them, and I barely even play them. But it does feel like... Actually, there is one game in the stuff we'll talk about in a second here about the state of play. There's one game there that I think I was like, wow, this is the most trend chasey thing I've seen in a while. I think I mentioned it last time I got shown off as well, but we got to see a little bit more of it. But yeah, any sort of closing thoughts?
Was it for loop?
Yeah, 4-loop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, let's get into the state of play. I'll just kind of go through the games, and we'll just yell out if there's anything we want to talk about with them. Since I don't want to, there was like 30 things shown off. It was actually it was like an hour and a half almost. So it was quite a lot. A lot of really cool things. So I guess probably the big one that they kind of talked about was, again, like right at the end was the last thing they kind of showed off, was that they're working on a God of War trilogy remake. So not just one, they're doing all 3 of the original games. They're completely remaking them, apparently. They said it's early in development, which is kind of nuts to me, because I feel like, what have they been doing since Ragnarok? But
yeah, I'm stoked. Yeah, I mean, I love God of War, and I've played all of the original trilogy, but I'm curious how they're going to remake them. Like, I would be stoked for an old school. Maybe they're looking at Ninja Gaiden like 4.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah,
and being like, okay, maybe we can do these PS2 era hack and slashers again if we just like polish them up and tighten them up. Because I think that's like the biggest reason I think those hack and slashers started to dwindle in popularity and people not like them is because they're not always super tight. You were sometimes fighting timing and weird things and combos,
camera issues, and like they tend to lack quality of life.
So if you just tighten them up, maybe they're fine for modern audiences. So maybe they see that and they're like, okay, we can redo this. That'd be sick. I'd be hyped about it. But I'm interested to see what they do.
Yeah, they didn't show off any footage. The original voice actor for Kratos is back though, so that's really cool. So again, like I think it's telling that this is a remake and not like a remaster of them just kind of upscaling it to 4K and bringing it to modern consoles. Like they're putting some work into this apparently. So really curious to see. But they said it's early, no footage, nothing like that, just an announcement. We had heard rumors about this, so it is kind of cool to see it confirmed. Saros is getting, they just showed off another trailer for that. Apparently they're actually putting a proper progression system in, unlike Returnal. So I think that should be slightly more, I think it's more leaning into that roguelike thing of like coming back stronger every time.
Yeah.
I think we
well, I was just say I talked about Returnal last time I was on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like it isn't the first time we've talked about Saros and that sort of stuff. Like they have.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll get great reviews and everyone loves it because everyone loves everything Housemarque does.
Yeah, I'll play it eventually, but hopefully it's better. Hopefully for me it's better than Returnal.
They showed off Silent Hill Townfall. This trailer was so good, and I was watching it because they had a big Konami block where they were like, yeah, we were super impressed that Konami has like a shitload of stuff to show off, and no one was more surprised than me because Konami feels like it's, they kind of they dipped out of the industry for a little while there, and it is really cool to see them coming back. But Townfall comes out like the first person game, which is an interesting take, about someone who wakes up in a place that looks like Silent Hill but is not called Silent Hill apparently. Although they do a little teaser, like you got to watch the trailer for this. It's really good.
That was a great twist.
The great little thing of like it looks like the sign says Silent Hill because it's got like a tarp covering it, and then it totally does. It's not, but it has the mist and it has these kind of horrifying things, and yeah, I'm really curious to see what they do. But apparently, this is coming out this year, so like it's a 2026 release. Silent Hill.
Just for Konami making games again.
Yeah, and like Konami's has had a Silent Hill game come out every year for the last 3 years. Because they had the remake of 2 in 2024, they had F last year, and they'll have Townfall this year. Like, they're on a tear.
Silent Hill 1 next year.
And that's true. Fuck, I completely forgot about that. But yeah, exactly. So, they know, I mean, we definitely had a while there where we didn't have anything from Silent Hill, so I'm glad we're getting a lot more. Because I love that franchise.
This one definitely feels a little more Silent Hill-y than F did, for sure.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
But This is one of the first games we've hit that wasn't announced for Xbox, but it'll come.
It'll come to Xbox for sure.
Like 2 did.
Yeah. Rayman 30th Anniversary Edition is coming out this week, so Digital Eclipse are doing that. Apparently, it has some like concept stuff from the original game, and they're doing that classic like museum thing where it's like, here's all the behind the scenes stuff and interviews, and like making it like a real curated piece, which is cool.
Yeah, Digital Eclipse does great work with remasters and remakes and stuff, or not re-releases and such.
Yeah, they've been doing really good port jobs recently. We're finally getting a John Wick game. It looks cool.
Brutal.
It looks like smash a guy through a window and then stab him and shit and just So Saber Interactive are doing that. So that's the same guys who did Space Marine 2 and a few others, I think. So they're usually in that kind of like AA development space. So I feel like this will be kind of a good one to fit in that wheelhouse. Curious what kind of game it is in terms of like structure. Is it going to be like a 20 level linear, you're John Wick just shooting through shit and killing people for a bit, or I mean I'm down for that.
Hey man,
I think it'd be kind of like
I was gonna say I think we need more of those in modern gaming these days. I think we need less open world, more curated experiences.
Yeah, totally on board.
I think that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah. The big surprise here for me was Castlevania Belmont's Curse. So they got a new Castlevania game coming out this year from some of the guys behind Dead Cells. It's Evil Empire making it. I think that's the guys who didn't do the original, but did like the DLC for Dead Cells, I think, if I remember correctly. Because they're the ones who did Rogue Prince of Persia as well. This looks fucking amazing.
I love the art style.
Yeah, definitely. Like they've definitely taken some cues from Bloodstained and that kind of stuff, and then that sort of 3D.
As they should.
Yeah, it looks fucking fantastic. Again, they only had really like a teaser for it, but so like, when was the last Castlevania game? With like Lords of Shadow 2?
Lords of Shadow 2. Yeah,
and that was what? That was a 360 game. So
it was a 360 game.
and it was a fucking mess. I love that game. It's so cool, but like, what a weird fucking game.
It's a like cool idea.
Yeah, for sure. I like Lords of Shadow 1 too though as well. When was Lords of Shadow 2? That was 2014. Christ. Then we got the reveal of Metal Gear Solid Master Collection 2. So it's got Peace Walker and finally Metal Gear Solid 4.
Escapes
Free
the
from the
PS3.
shackles of about to say finally.
Yeah, I lost my shit and I had to
get off the cell processor.
I had to explain. Our housemate was here and doesn't know anything about Metal Gear, and I was like, "This game is like the holy grail of this series because,
dude,
they've ported every other game to every other system just about over the years, but this one has just been the one that the white whale."
I'm so excited for people who haven't had the opportunity now to play Metal Gear Solid 4 because I just feel like not enough people have because it was stuck on the PS3 and gaming has grown so much since the PS3. So I'm excited to see people play it. I'm excited to see people sit through an hour and a half cutscene that has a save prompt in the middle of it.
Oh my god, yes. That's the end of Act 3,
hours.
beginning of Act 4, right? Like it's just it goes for so long.
Oh, it's so good. Here's a movie in the middle of your game
hours
that you
of
can
movie,
save
man.
between.
I know people have like turned Metal Gear into like movies in terms of like cutscenes and spliced them together with editing and shit. Like,
yeah,
I'm down to just sit down and watch that sometime again because it's been so long.
Before Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, I wanted to catch myself up to speed. I didn't do it for I played Metal Gear Solid, played all of them, 1 through 4 and Peace Walker. But I did sit down and watch a cutscene movie. Actually, a pretty good cutscene movie for Metal Gear 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So
which is pretty important, tying in with 5. Like it's
so incredibly important. I'm so mad they haven't done something with that story because
they really need to like remake that. Yeah.
Not enough people know about those two games and the story they tell, and it's just like not side content. It's so critically important to the whole story of the games. Kills me, man. Yeah. That is anytime, and I mean I've said it here on the show and you know it. Anytime someone says what do you want remade for the modern day, that is always the first answer every time. Metal Gear 1 and 2.
Yeah. That would be fucking sweet. They have the technology.
Metal Gear Solid 4 is. I'm so excited about Peace Walker, man. I love that game. That's one of my favorite games.
I always say Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is probably my favorite Metal Gear because it's Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay with still what I would say is a traditional Metal Gear Solid story.
And David Hayter.
David Hayter.
And David Hayter.
Yeah, I actually have Peace Walker installed. It's part of my unstarted backlog for the Xbox, so I will play that at some stage. I know.
God, game.
Is it on the 360? Do you have it on 360? Or
yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if there's another remake. I think I should still have my save with the bandana.
I might hit you up for that. Actually, that could be helpful.
Yeah, because that's the hardest part. You can S-rank everything as soon as you get the bandana. Just getting the infinite ammo bandana is you have to basically do the hardest co-op mission S-rank to get it. But once you get it, everything's a breeze.
Easy.
I'll definitely hit you up for that actually because it is. I have it actually installed, so it's not even just on the backlog. It's ready.
I'd have to make sure I still have to save because I did this when it was still on the 360.
Oh yeah, right.
So if not, I'll have to make sure my save is at least on the cloud so I can load it on the Xbox One. But yeah, feel free.
Hell yeah. Control Resonant. They showed off a little bit of gameplay for that, which was it looked really cool. I mean, like Remedy could do no wrong in my book, so I'll be picking this up straight away. It looked, again, they've now that they've changed the sort of character action melee style with different weapons and bits and pieces. It looked a little slower than I was expecting, but I'm kind of okay with it because I'm not really into like the whole DMC like super fast Ninja Gaiden style, having to have inputs done and on delays and shit like that. It looks like a lot more, I don't want to say casual, but just like more like simplified system. But it might get crazy towards the end. It wouldn't surprise me. But this looked cool. Had like gravity shifting stuff and kind of like small platforming elements and
that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely keen. There's a new Dead or Alive game in development, and they're doing Last Round, which is their like current gen like re-release of 6. Ghost of Yotei is getting a Legend multiplayer mode similar to what Ghost of what was the other one?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, thank you. Yeah, like I had Legends mode as well, which is that kind of multiplayer thing. Death Stranding 2 is coming to PC. Kena Bridge of Spirits is getting a sequel. This looked really, really cool, but I think it's only coming to PlayStation and PC at this point because I think Sony's like funding it or like, yeah.
Did Xbox ever get Kena?
Yes,
the first one?
They did. Yeah, I remember because I got laid off while I was playing it. So that was about this time last year. Actually, I started playing it. So yeah, that really, really cool game. Has that sort of Souls-like energy to it, but it's also like really fucking hard on the high difficulties. No one cares about PlayStation Plus. But this one
I do. I didn't know Spider-Man 2 was coming
Nah,
to PlayStation
nah.
Plus. I'm gonna have to redeem that as a proud PS5 owner.
All right, let's just turn him down on the.
Yeah, this guy. Where'd Jake go? Oh man,
yeah, no,
lost him.
we're going into a tunnel. Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered is coming March 3rd. Fuck yes. Apparently they've done some work to the camera to make it more playable, and also I'm day one for me. Like I don't care if it's bad. I have to support this series to continue getting made. Like this is my one shot because when the series was out as a kid, I did not have the money to be able to buy these games and support this developer. So I'm like, no, I need to do this. They're also doing like a 2D action side-scrolling like beat 'em up game that looks really interesting. Like maybe Metroidvania, not quite sure, but like 3 different characters. So like Kane, Raziel, and a new guy. Looks interesting. I'll probably give that a look too as well. But yeah, just really glad that we didn't just get Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered and then they just kind of died a death. Apparently it sold okay enough for them to do more of these. It also apparently, if you get like the deluxe edition of Defiance, it has like some like prototype stuff from the unreleased sequel that they were planning on doing. That
I was gonna say, are you excited for that? That's
yes,
cool. Like the fact that they're releasing that is very neat.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, people have heard me wax poetic about that game. That's another one that's like up there with like Metal Gear was the thing on the tactical espionage action, and this was my sort of dark fantasy thing. That like the 2 reasons why I am the way I am.
That explains a lot.
And Bungie's doing more stuff with Marathon. Nothing too crazy there. I mean, it looks good, but they're doing like an open preview, and yeah, it's still coming in March. They want to get it up before the end of the financial year. And then the other things they kind of showed off, For Loop. So they showed this off. I think it was it a Game Award? No, not Game. It was at the Summer Games Fest, I think, last year, or something. It was some other show. I remember seeing this before.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year sometime. Yeah, this feels like the biggest trend chase of all time, where they were like, cool, it's a 4-person co-op roguelike, pick your direction and pick your abilities, and like it just, oh boy.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, not super keen on that one. Pragmata got more of a trailer. That looks fine. Resident Evil Requiem showed off some more stuff. Again, looks great. Brigadine Abyss looked kind of interesting. I don't really know.
Hey, did anyone else see that trailer? And they start going, and from the famous Brigadine series since the 90s. Like,
yeah,
what? Was anyone else confused? Because I was
very confused.
I mean, to be honest,
Breath of Fire or anything else.
What I've been seeing a lot lately is like a bunch of old like this was only in Japan games.
Yeah.
That were just huge in Japan coming to America, and them doing that. They're like from the Renown series, and I'm like, Renown? I've never heard of this in my life.
From the PlayStation days.
Yeah, but apparently it's giant in Japan, or always was giant in Japan. Also,
like tactics RPG? Crazy.
Yeah, I'm just thumbing around the thumbing around the trailer, and it looks like there's just like nudity.
Yep. They didn't.
I'm in. Never mind. What's going on?
Sold. Yep.
Sold. Back in.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, what? Hold up.
The one that I was super excited for was Crimson Moon, though. This was looks like, I mean, like, I was watching it, I was like, oh, cool. It looks like a kind of like colorful Darksiders comic book style kind of thing, but like it's like saturated, like very bright and almost cell shaded, but not quite. It's a lot of bright colors, and I was like, oh, cool. And then it was like, oh, there's 2 players. And then I saw someone doing a roll. I'm like, that's a fucking Souls-like roll if I've ever seen one. So it looks like a sort of 360 era co-op Souls-like thing with like a really like vibrant art style, but still like with like goblins and fantasy and that kind of stuff. Didn't really see much about it. Like it was just a reveal trailer, and it was like 30 seconds or something, or a minute. But yeah, I'm definitely keen to check that one out because I do love me some Souls-like, and I love me some co-op. Beast of Reincarnation, which we talked about the other week, is coming August 4th, so we got a release date for that. That's coming to Game Pass day 1.
It comes out on my birthday.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Mina the Hollower. They said it's coming out later this year, but that, again, from the guys from Shovel Knight, looks like the sort of an homage to classic like handheld gaming sort of things where, you know, top-down Mario, or no, like, I guess like Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons kind of, but like much more frenetic and fast paced. Yeah, which it looks really cool. I mean, I know like Shovel Knight was hugely popular and maybe a little too difficult for my taste, but love the idea. Never is getting like a prologue DLC that looks beautiful. I mean, Never was a fantastic game, so we'll see if it has achievements. I'll probably pick it up. Shinobi Ops is a 4-player ninja co-op game made by the original studio behind Tenchu. Looks, again, as that sort of... I was excited, and then I was like, oh, it's one of these kind of isometric...
yeah, it looks like, I don't know if anyone played it while it was on Game Pass, Shadow Tactics?
Yeah, Shadow Tactics and Commandos, and was it Commando? Yeah, like that kind of like, Shadow Tactics, I think, is probably the closest one, yeah.
Oh, I saw it started, and it said the team from Tenchu, like, oh, and then it looked like Tenchu, oh, and then it went top down, like, oh.
I was like, oh, okay, I've played Desperados. I know how this works.
Yeah, never mind.
Crafton is working on some game called Project Windless, where you play as a chicken with swords.
The chicken game.
Yeah, Crafton is now an AI first company, so I'm like, well, okay, this is probably going to be a bit of a thing. Star Wars Galactic Races is coming out this year. Looks good. They showed off a bit more of 007 First Light, showing off some of the like plot stuff and actually some of the like non-Hitman style things, maybe, I guess, of like the more sort of traditional third-person shooter stuff. Darwin Paradox, which is that adorable little octopus game from Konami that they're making for some reason. Gets a little like, it comes with a demo that has like Solid Snake stuff, so he's like wearing the Solid Snake headband and sneaking around in a cardboard box. Rev Noir is some new JRPG project that works at Konami. It looks super generic, but could be good. Yep. I don't know. We didn't like, it was that. They were like, all these elements of JRPGs we're trying to put into this game. I was like, so you're trying to make like the most JRPG of JRPGs.
It's like our Final Fantasy conversation earlier. It's just they're just trying to
which it's fine. Like there's room for plenty of JRPGs in the genre.
I for one love JRPG slop. So
fair.
I will eat it up.
Chemco is where I draw the line, but otherwise, I'm usually game.
Even Chemco games are perfect. Perfect handheld device bed games.
For sure.
They're the best.
They're bringing Tekken Dark Resurrection to PlayStation Classics and Time Crisis. They showed off a little bit of Big Walk again, which I love Big Walk because that's the guys who did.
It's very cute.
They're the ones who did Untitled Goose Game, so you know the kind of vibe you're getting into there. It's just so cute. It's like he's like, oh look, he's over there, and he just holds up a sign that just said, "I fell down a hole" with a sad face. It's really funny. And they showed off a bit more of Marvel Tokon as well, but that's PlayStation only. And that was it. I mean, it was a big list of stuff, and like, not all of it's coming to Xbox, which is a shame. But I think that I'm sure a lot of it will come to Xbox at some stage. But I'm pretty hyped for a few of those things in there, especially some of the smaller third-party stuff.
I'm gonna have to watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely worth a look. All right. Well, let's get into Game Pass updates. Shane, do you have the trailer open by any chance?
I do, and I just clicked it, and it's loading very fast because I have it. All right, so joining the service on February 10th, we're getting relooted. Well, got relooted. And then on the 12th, so yesterday, we got Blaze Blue Entropy Effect X. February 12th as well, we got Roadside Research. I'm interested in that one. No achievements yet, though. So,
Oh, because game preview, I think, right? Yeah.
Yep, but we also got Star Stand Island. Today, we got High on Life 2, the 13th. Along with Kingdom Come Deliverance, which was that on Game Pass before, or is this its first time?
I think
on
it's
here?
his first time, if I remember correctly, for the base game. Maybe not. It might have actually been.
That's
on Game
surprising,
Pass
actually.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, 17th Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which is it's technically on there already if you have Ubisoft.
Yeah,
but,
well, it's part of Ubisoft's
now it's hitting Game
expensive thing,
Pass.
but now that Ubisoft Classics
Yeah.
is tied in with Ultimate, yeah.
Yeah, and then Avowed. Oh, going to premium.
Premium,
on
yeah.
17th.
It's been a year.
Yeah, and besides the one Madden game leaving for the first half of February, we don't know what's leaving yet for the second half.
Yeah.
I am eagerly awaiting that.
Yeah, me too. Just before I start anything new, I'm like, I need to keep.
I need
just
to be
in
a
case.
Warhammer Rogue Trader, and I look at the guide, and I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, even I was like,
Maybe.
nah, I ain't got time for that. I'm going to have to buy that if I want to play that. We've also got our Patreon, patreon.com/HallOfGamers. If you want to help support the show, a huge thank you to Old Mate Clown, Cavalier07, Hack and Pone, Kung Fu Skills, Happy Moogles, Admiral Awesome, Natolinator, Lee Howard, Left Legacy, and Venoms AU. We literally couldn't afford to do the show without you guys, so thank you so much. We do try and put out some exclusive content on the platform for our paid members. But if you want to join as a free member, there's also a bit of a backlog there of things like Lights, Camera, and Action, which is a show where we review video game movies and TV shows. And so we've been recently doing the Fallout series, Season 2. We're just about to record the penultimate episode. We did the penultimate episode. So that should be out by now, by the time you hear this. And we're just about to record the finale for the Season 2. We're very, very excited to see that. And then we'll kind of see what happens. Cameron's got a couple of ideas for shows. We've got a couple of bits and pieces knocking around for those paid members. But yeah, like I said, if you join as a free member, you'll get the first episode free for Lights, Camera, and Action, and you'll get also our backlog of some of our older episodes that we did back in the day. And if you have ideas or things that you'd like to see on the Patreon as a member, let us know, because we're definitely open to ideas. We want to make sure that we're giving back stuff for those who help support us. All right. We also have the monthly theme, which is every 2 months. The bimestral burden for February and January has been New Year, New Me, where we're playing games with character customization or equipable character cosmetics. Some of our community members have been stretching that a little bit, and I've been allowing it because there have been some good choices, like Balatro, but I guess you can technically equip different skins, even if there aren't characters, quote unquote.
I wouldn't have let that one slide. You're crazy for that one.
Matt's
Well, I mean,
too nice.
I'm
too nice.
what can I say? I'm just a nice person to put down. But yeah, really keen. There's a lot of people have been getting involved with that, and there's a lot of different interpretations of that. So I've been curious to see what people have been saying. But yeah, get on that. Play some games where you can change up your character customization or creation, or like the Tales series where you put cat ears on all the characters and crazy glasses, and they wear them in the cutscenes and try to be all serious. But speaking of games, what have we been playing this week, or the last couple of weeks for you guys at least? Shane, let's start with you.
I don't remember where I was last time, but I did Indica.
Yes.
That was cool. Like, very cool.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about it going in. I had a price watch on it for a while. I just knew it was good. So I was like, okay, cool. It's a short game, whatever. And then it hit Game Pass. So next day I was like, all right, I'll start this. God, there's not a lot to say without spoiling it.
Yeah.
But essentially, for anyone who doesn't know, you're a nun who is dealing with a covenant that hates her. She's kind of weird. She sees things. She's the weird kid in class, essentially. But in 19th century Russia, covenant, and they don't like her. So they send her off to another monastery to deliver a message. On the way, she runs into... So she thinks she talks to the devil. She runs into a convict fugitive that talks to God, and they team up to get to a city to make a miracle happen for both of them. But it's very surreal, but it's all animated very realistically. So everything looks like a Gears of War game where it's like gritty and real, but it's just weird. It's so weird. And it's filmed, and the music is like a A24 indie title, and it's just a weird game.
Yeah.
And I loved all the discussion, the philosophical discussions of religion and what their thoughts are on it. I played it all in the original Russian because it just sounded better. Yeah, great game. Very easy completion too. Each chapter has an achievement or so, or something miscellaneous you have to do, and you can get back to there very quickly. I was letting everything breathe and reading all the lore and listening to everybody. But if you just speeding through it, it's a very short completion. So if you do need to go back, you can kind of play it blind and then double back to get all the achievements with chapter select, and it's very quick. So I can't recommend enough playing this blind. Just play it. Just play it. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I'll second all of that. I had a fantastic time playing through it as well back in the day.
I was blown away. I have not stopped thinking about it or talking to people about it. Like, hey, even people that don't play video games. I'm like, man, I wish you did, because there's this game that I wish you could watch someone play, because, oh boy, some thoughts. Red Ninja, you still here? Because next I did Dimensions. They recommended it. It's bad. Real bad. It's real jank. I only got it because it was in the most recent buy one, get two. So I grabbed that. He had recommended it before. And it's very clearly a director's vision of what they wanted a video game to be. They even called it. While I was playing it, I found the original Facebook post of the director looking for voice actors to help with this game, and he even called them OCs. It's clearly a nerd who really wanted to make this, and this is their passion project. It's all Unreal 5 assets.
Right.
There's a lot of nudity and boobs, and of all the things, the soundtrack is banger. Like they got some really great songs, but it's just the most jank gameplay ever. It's a pretty easy completion though, and I did have fun. I laughed the whole way through. It's absolutely ridiculous. All the voice acting is like real cringe, and Red Ninja says he did the second one today. Maybe someday. I don't know. We'll see. That was
need
rough,
a bit of
man.
a break for sure.
Yeah. I'll play some jank, but okay. There are levels, and that was a lot. Finished up Delta Squad. I've been stringing that one along since November. It's for my streak. I started it for November, so probably Thanksgiving or family related stuff, something. But it's a top-down twin-stick shooter. It's one of those games that you can technically finish in an hour, not take you 4 months, but I had a
No rush.
So yeah, I finally knocked it out. Like, I'll knock it out quick. Started Transformers Revenge of the Fallen on 360. I got an opportunity for someone to jump on and help me with the online, so I figured might as well quickly do that. I can't believe it's still even working. And I had the DLC, so I was a rare catch for the guy. He's like, I need help. Like, no one has the DLC, so I jumped on and helped them get that. I'll probably start that soon. There are leaderboard achievements, and the last thing I need is for that to all of a sudden go down for some reason. So I'll get around to that. Main game I played this week, the last couple of weeks, was Duke Nukem Forever. Hate that game.
Yeah, that's
I
a
hate
fucking
it.
awful game.
I don't know if I even would have found it funny back in 2011, but it's so aged poorly by now. Like, it's just not funny. It's not fun. It's not funny. It looks awful. It's such a slog. And I'll admit I'm having a little more fun on hard because I'm just playing instead of following a guide for collectibles. But it's still just, what a pain, man. Luckily, you can glitch cheats for the hard mode, so you can use those to be. If you get to a certain hard spot, you can turn on instant kill and invincibility and infinite ammo and get through it. And I'm kind of doing a mixture. But what a pain! It's from my TA Christmas event, so I figured I might as well knock it out. And then I started a Ready Vitae Lab. It's trash.
I'm sorry, what?
You can finish it in, yeah, I know. You can finish it in like 10 minutes. It's my new string along. So I'll probably actually be getting an achievement here after this, so I can do something else. But yeah, it's garbage. So I got a whole bundle of them a while ago because I was like, hey, I got, I can have games on hand when I'm on trips or doing family stuff. And yeah, it's one of those. Gross. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Nothing super special right now. I'm very curious what Game Pass is gonna leave soon. I'll probably start something there so I can play something new.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same camp. Um, I haven't. I've been playing a little bit of stuff. Am. I started. I started and mostly finished the DLC for Shadow of War. So I think I talked about that last week, where I kind of finished the base game. Really enjoyed the DLC. It does have one of those achievements though, which is that like, hey, do this game mode really, really quickly and get a high score on it, which is again like the Test of the Ring and Test of the Wild from the original Shadow of Mordor games. There is one for the last DLC. It's the last achievement I have is to basically finish that DLC with a gold ranking. So I know it's good. It's apparently not quite as difficult as the other ones, but it's hard to be like, okay, cool. I want to sit here for an hour and just bash my head against this till I get it. So we'll see how that goes. You need to play on like a high difficulty because you get a score multiplier and all that kind of stuff. So it could be a real pain. But that is part of my unstarted backlog, so that's nearly complete, which I'm really happy about. I also got pushed to play, was it Video Kid, which is that sort of paperboy voxel style game that I've had sitting in my backlog for several years. I got a push from Professor Pluto to go and do that, and so I just did that in an afternoon. It was actually pretty straightforward. And then I guess the main things I've been playing is I started and finished Deponia Doomsday, which is the fourth game in the Deponia series, which is a point-and-click adventure done by Daedalic Entertainment. This one is basically like, hey, so the third one had a really definitive ending that no one liked, so we're going to make fun of everyone who bitched about it by making another game that has time travel about it that fucks with it. It gets really weird. Like this, like if you wanted me to explain the story, I could have no idea where to even start because it has so many twists and turns of like time travel stuff and meeting your past self and fucking with events and like building a time machine and also things aging, going to places like the interim time and time moving faster in some places than others. Anyway, it's your sort of standard funny, like quote unquote funny, like point and click adventure with like ridiculous solutions and like horrible shit that you do. But it has one of the most annoying achievements I've done in a long time, which is 1001 Jackals, where you get given the DNA code for 3 different creatures. And one of them is like a clown man, like a man who's a clown. One of them is a giant bear, a friendly bear, and one of them is like an evil lizard. And the whole thing is that they have 5 different personality things. Like what are their extremities? Do they have claws, hands, or like paws? Are they like have the weird smile? Are they friendly or are they evil? Are they a bear, a lizard, or a man in terms of their body types? And do they have scales, fur, or clothes? And so the idea is that you have to put these things into a machine and mix them up and make every single possible variation of all of those things. So there are 243 different solutions that you have to make manually, go and create the thing, and then redo it. It like, so you need to sit there for like 2 hours doing this thing, and it just grinds everything to a halt. I had a fucking spreadsheet. It was so painful. And actually was the main reason I hadn't started the game yet, because I knew that achievement was in there. But it's finally done. Game's finished. It's off the list. It's in the hidden pile now, so it's done. I mostly enjoyed the Deponia games. I think I played the second one first because I think I got it on sale because like, oh, this looks interesting, and then I kind of went back and played the other ones. But now that's the whole series of 4 done. I don't think they're doing any more. The other thing I played, I kind of gave myself a quote-unquote fun game on Game Pass between my backlog and did Ninja Gaiden Ragebound because that got added recently. Ragebound is right because this game is fucking frustrating. It is a 2D Ninja Gaiden game which has assist modes to make it playable, because if you didn't have them, it would be the most difficult thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was crazy how many enemies they throw at you, how little health you have. It's a Ninja Gaiden game, so it's to be expected. But you have you have like an invincibility mode, you have like a no stun lock when you get hit sort of thing, and that sort of stuff. That makes the game relatively straightforward. Does have some quite difficult platforming challenges though still, so you need to get good in some of these locations to get some of the collectibles. There's a decent collectible guide. They've done a few updates. You also need to run through the game on hard, but you unlock hard from beating the first like tutorial boss if you can beat him. Yeah, so it's really cool. The idea is that you are a ninja from the Hayabusa clan who gets into a scrape, nearly dies, and has to and basically ends up merging souls with a rival Black Spider clan ninja. And so you have the abilities of both, so you kind of switch between them and that kind of stuff to kind of like one of them is like ranged attacks and you do melee attacks and that kind of stuff. It's relatively straightforward. The level design is that classic like left to right side scroller. There's not really like any like Metroidvania elements. It's very like stage based, and there's like a ranking system, like an S rank scoring system and stuff. But it took me about, I think, like 10 hours or so. It's relatively straightforward. And with the assist modes, it's pretty easy. There's only a couple of achievements that are a bit of a pain. There's ones of like, okay, cool, get through this level without falling down a pit. And it's like, okay, well, good. You just got to get good at the platforming and that kind of stuff. So it took a few attempts, but I definitely recommend it. It's also got like a ridiculously high ratio, obviously, because it's a hard game and it's on Game Pass now. So it has that ratio bump. And then I think, the last thing that I just finished the story of last night was Lost Planet 3, which I know is a bit of a weird pick, but it's one of those games I've had in my unstarted backlog. It's backwards compatible, and so I was like, fuck it. I like Lost Planet 1, even though it's a bullshit game. Lost Planet 2 has all those leaderboard achievements, so I'm never going to play that. But Lost Planet 3 is a prequel, and it is very much a third-person cover-based shooter mixed with this game is Dead Space 3. They were like Dead Space 3, but without any of the like real horror elements and understanding what makes those games good. So it is a very bog standard 6.5, 7 out of 10 like third person shooter in the snow, but you get a cool big mech that you get to walk around in and drill stuff and beat the shit out of things. Yeah, like it was a really cool like turn your brain off, story doesn't matter. Just kind of go around this like semi-open world, get collectibles, and just kind of do story missions and have a relatively predictable plot. So I just finished the story for that, and I need to trick someone into playing the multiplayer with me. So that's the next thing. But apparently, apparently the it's best to play it on the 360 itself though, because apparently the backwards compatibility with the multiplayer is kind of like iffy. But we'll see how we go. I sent a message to someone on TA who was looking for help, but we'll see if I find anyone. Otherwise, I might try and double box it if I can, but I'm not. Backwards compatibility, double boxing stuff is always a bit tricky, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and so I'm just kind of on the lookout for my next game. I did technically start like Suicide Squad today, but I put like an hour into it through the tutorial, so that's probably going to be the thing I work on for the next week or so. But I did also post my list of backlog games in the completions channel, so if you guys want to have a look and let me know what I should be working on and shame me for having not played Outer Wilds, for example, that's the place to do it, because I do want to try and my goal is to have that backlog category empty or as close to empty as possible by the end of this year, and we're making really good progress considering we're only in Feb, so I think there's a good chance that we'll get there. But yeah, that's me. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, mine's gonna be pretty boring because it was pretty much about the same as last time it was on. It's just Secret of Mana still. I haven't fully had time. I took last weekend. I was out of town. I went to New York, so I didn't get any gaming in. So not much has changed. It's just Secret of Mana and Elder Scrolls Online still. And honestly, I made way more progress in Elder Scrolls Online. Secret of Mana. I think I'm in the Mana Palace.
Okay.
Grand Palace. So I'm almost done. I'm getting there. I'm just trying to level up all my weapons before I get to the point of no return. But now I'm so over leveled that leveling my weapons is a slog, because I don't know if you know the formula for how weapons level, but it is if the enemy is high is 2 levels or two levels lower, 1 level lower, or your level or higher, you get normal experience, which is like, I believe it's the weapon level, or it's 9 minus the weapon level. Mm-hmm. So if you kill an enemy same level as you and you have a level 6 weapon, you're getting 3 experience. You need 100 experience leveled up.
Mhm.
I've over leveled now, so everything is way under because I'm grinding. And that formula changes to weapon level, or 9 minus weapon level divided by 2. So every enemy is 1 experience. I think I stopped because I didn't even know if I was getting experience or not. But then I reread the formula and it says I should be, so I need to just check. But yeah, so and the problem is I've been kind of waffling on this one on like, did I screw myself? Can I not finish that achievement? Like, am I going to be too far ahead of every enemy till the end of the game now? Is something I'm slightly worried about, but I'm sure there's some emulation fun I can do to figure it out, make it work.
I know Visions of Mana has the same issue, I think, if I remember correctly, in terms of like leveling, like in terms of like over
Yeah.
yeah, like not to that extent, but definitely if you're outside of the level, like band of whatever you're fighting, the stuff you get from it for weapon stuff is just nothing.
Yeah. And then Elder Scrolls Online, I actually popped a couple achievements today. I finished the Western Solstice area, which is the latest content drops are Western Solstice followed by Eastern Solstice, which is the it was like a 2-part. It was like their season 0, kind of like, because they're switching to a seasons model instead of like a year-long chapters model. So every 3 months there'll be content drops starting in I think they're starting in April. But yeah, I finished that zone. I've been doing there's a Valentine's Day event currently hanging around. And I'm getting way too into min-maxing again. I'm looking at builds and figuring out how to do raids.
Optimize all the fun out of a game. Love that. Big fan.
I know. Well, the problem is it's either that or figure out how to play with people, which is scary. Cause
yeah, not doing that. No, definitely min-max all the
time. No, I actually did join. I'm to the point where content I need to do, like, there's still tons of like overlaying content and stories and solo content stuff I can do, but my character level is getting to the point where I can't really progress until unless I start doing end game group content. So I joined a guild yesterday, and I don't know, I might be social.
Wow.
Ugh.
No,
but
that's illegal.
Yeah. So because I need to do, and I've been playing with Admiral Awesome, friend of the show, and he also needs the veteran dungeons, and we're both just like, you need 4 people to do those, and we're 2 people, and we've been trying to, our endeavors to convince people to start Elder Scrolls Online have not been going well.
What a fucking surprise!
Yeah, listen, man, Emperor's not
for years.
Emperor's not that hard. You just have to dedicate like 17 hours straight of your life to it, and you're fine. That's it. That's all they're asking.
That's actually very reasonable.
It's not terrible. I mean, you've done leaderboard runs before. Like, you've done crazy pushes for things before.
For sure.
And I think I said this last week too, or 2 weeks ago when I was on. I'm going for Emperor in March with Admiral. Unfortunately, his character. My initial, I always said if I ever go for it, I'm going to make a European server character so that when I'm playing at 6 or 7 p.m., everyone's offline for them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's campaigns you can play that are like not max level campaigns, and no one plays those seriously. No one has builds in those campaigns. But if you have a crafting character, you can make a build for your low level character. So you can just kind of pub stomp everybody else who's in the not max level campaigns. So that's the strat. So that's what I've set up. I have a character I'm kind of grinding to be level like 30 or something, and I've max crafted gear for a level 30 character. The only downside is Admiral's going to help me go for it, but he's like, yeah, we got to start when all the Americans are asleep. And I said, Admiral, you know I'm American, right? And he said, yes. Oh, I'm gonna just screw my sleep schedule like one weekend, I guess. Start playing at like 10 p.m. and just go until I get it. Just crack Red Bulls constantly until
Hell
it
yeah.
pops. So that's the plan. That's happening hopefully in March. And God, I got it. I got to make sure I get it when I can, because apparently in the coming future, Elder Scrolls Online, this may help my problem, but Elder Scrolls Online sounds like it is going cross-play. So PC and console can play together, which might help mine and Admiral's problem of finding people to do veteran content with. But that will also theoretically make getting Emperor significantly harder.
Yeah. No.
So.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd have a suggestion to help, but he finished the game forever ago. So.
Moonzom says that he feels like he should start. So.
Well, we need more people for vet content. I'll roll whatever role I need to be, healer or tank, because it's easier to get new people in as DPS, and I don't know how to tank or heal, but I feel like it makes more sense for me and Admiral to learn that. But you have a friend who's finished ESO, Shane, you said?
Yeah, he's been trying to get me to play it forever. He's like, play with me again. Play with me. I'll play with you. I'll go you through. I'm like, no. No,
yeah,
I can play other things. Absolutely not.
Even if you have a friend who can pull you through the game, because you absolutely can get pulled through the game, especially if you have people who know other people who can get you through the group content easily.
Yeah.
It is still, there's no way to shake it, still a several 100-hour time investment.
Yeah.
For sure.
And he likes that stuff. Like, he is the first hardcore achievement hunter on my level that I met way back when, and we've been friends forever now at this point. But he is very much, he does all the MMOs. He's currently playing Final Fantasy 14 and working through that.
Jesus.
Like, that's what I wanted. I want to finish ESO so I can jump over to Final Fantasy 14.
He literally messaged me this morning, and we were talking. He's been stationed in Japan for a couple months now, or no, a couple of years now. Jeez. Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. You want to come play with me?" Like, no, thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Hey, you need to start Final Fantasy 15, comrades. Hurry up and help me finish that, and then maybe we can talk. So.
Come on. It's fun. I have found myself playing in the last couple of weeks of what I've worked on, and even before last week's or 2 weeks ago's podcast when I was just Secret of Mana and ESO. I've been finding myself spending most of my time on ESO, having a lot of fun with it. So, and you can start once you get to a certain point, kind of the point I'm at, you can really snowball it. Like, there's honestly not a lot of achievements that I don't have the capability to get them if I just like went and focused them down. I'm just my mind currently is on getting the harder stuff done, like the veteran content and the Emperor. So as soon as those are done, I mean, what lit a fire under my ass, because I've been intermittently playing that game since it came out in 2017, I think, on consoles when it came out. Like, I was a day one for that game. Maybe regrettably, maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, I'm having fun, but maybe I wouldn't have started it if I knew what Emperor was. But I finally got a fire lit under my ass when a new build was very attainable, and I got it, and so now my character finally feels like end game, like I can solo pretty much all the content. And then also I finally 100% finished my starting character's zone. There are 3 major factions in the game, and they all have 5 zones. And there's an achievement for basically doing everything in that faction zone. And I finished my faction zone, and I kind of lit a fire under my ass to be like, okay, let's not drop the game. Like, and also Admiral lit a fire under my ass because he's like, I got Emperor, and it actually wasn't that bad. And I have most of the game done except for the veteran dungeons, and so I'm like, you know what, maybe this is something I could do. So I don't know. Check back in March. This. We'll see how I feel if and when Emperor gets done. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe 2026 is the year I finish ESO finally. Jump ship to Final Fantasy 14. We'll see.
I wonder if I should go back to Neverwinter. Maybe. It's been a while.
That's another one, yeah.
They haven't had a DLC.
He's played ESO.
No. yeah, they haven't had a DLC update for that since 2024. So I'm like, maybe they're done. Maybe.
Ooh, maybe.
Maybe. I don't
There's
know.
a lot of unobtainable stuff for that game now, though.
Or the discontinued. Yeah, I've got all the discontinued at least because I
Okay.
did all the base game and I've done most of the. Well, I did all the DLCs up to a point, and then I started like falling behind of like, cool, I need the gear for this dungeon, and then the next dungeon comes out and like, well, I'm underleveled for this one. I'm definitely not getting to this one, and now I'm like 6 down, where I'm like, there's 6 new bits of content that I just have not engaged with, so I'm way behind the curve. But on the plus side, if I start the newest content, hopefully I'll get gear that will make the other earlier content easier. So maybe, but I also you also need like a guild and like people to play with, and like, you know, I don't know, we'll see. But
Yeah.
I'm also trying to avoid spending money on it because it's a free to play game, and there's also that element. But yeah, who knows? All right. Well, I think that's everything we've been playing. Good list of stuff. We've also got the word challenge, which was something I was quietly going to kill, but I got asked to bring it back. So if you don't know what the challenge is, I come up with a game, and you go on our Discord and you guess in the word challenge channel what the game is. You get 1 guess per hour. You put the game in, and a gift pops up, and you win. There's no prize money or anything because I can't afford it. So you basically just play for bragging rights. But each week I give away a clue. The first clue was this game is a sequel, and the Moonzom has been guessing every single Mega Man game that has ever been invented. He hasn't got it yet, but he's trying. So best of luck to him. He is in the chat at the moment, so I admire his dedication. I'm hoping that this will help. Chin Doctor has asked if it's Mega Man 2. It is not Mega Man 2. But the new clue is this game has no number in the title. So it is a unnumbered sequel. So that should narrow it down maybe just a little bit.
Mega Man X.
See, there you go. So now you're thinking with portals, like something like that. Yeah. So best of luck. I'm sure the Moonzom will get it just by sheer force of will. Or Legacy will jump in and snipe it at the last minute like he usually does. So good luck, everyone. And then we also have the leaderboards. Jake, do you happen to have that?
I do have the leader. Well, I have the Trello open, which has the ability to open the leaderboards. And would you look at that? At number 5, we have one and only Neomaster at 64.95. Mephisto for the win at 125. Northern Last 29,920. Thrash Forever 36,765, and a Gray Shark with 40,820.
Oh yeah, that's I don't get how they just put up so much score in a week. But I don't know if I put it this out, but I am now no longer the have the most biggest game score in New Zealand anymore. I have been overtaken.
What?
Yeah, by some guy called Polish Turd 69.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Defeated by a turd. How's it feel?
Looking at his profile, he has a completion percentage of 89%, which is pretty good, but a ratio of 1.27. So I don't feel too bad considering I'm at 1.92. And I have a lot more completed games than him. But yeah, that's the reality of it now, is that I just can't keep up anymore. It's I was the first to 2 million, but I don't think I'm going to be the first to 3 million. But we'll see. I don't know. He's only like 10,000 ahead of me, so if I really needed to, get the roids out and inject some raw gamer score into my veins, I probably could, but I ain't about that life.
Whip out that credit card.
Exactly.
But you're looking at gamer score, right? You're still
just
number
score,
1
yes.
on TA.
Yeah, TA score.
Score.
Absolutely, yeah.
Gamer score is such a, I don't know. You can get 30,000 in so fast at this point now.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it is actually nuts. TA score Oceania, I'm 6th, but I should still be number 1 in New Zealand by a good mile, I think.
A couple million.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, just start a 4,000 day streak, and that kind of lifts up all your numbers. They look so much better.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, exactly. We also have completions. Shane, you want to read those out?
Yeah, we got Stupidoo. He did Mafia: The Old Country and Final Fantasy. Red Ninja Dan did a Telia Yumia. Finally, good job. Shadowed Sly got Destiny. Like OG Destiny.
Yeah, OG Destiny.
Super Bob hit 800,000, I assume, gamer score.
Yep.
Mike ID did Highguard. Very tempted. And Rapture did Pal World.
Yeah, I might just do Highguard. Apparently, it's not that bad, and you can do it mostly with bots.
I wanted to play it for reals. It looks like they toned down some of the achievements and fixed it up a little bit. So,
okay.
And now everyone's boosting it. So worst case, I could play it and then be like, I'd rather just boost it and then finish it up.
Now's the time, yeah.
I did install it while I was at work today, so we'll see.
All right. Well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show. As always, you can join us on Twitch, Xbox Hall of Gamers, and Patreon, patreon.com/Hall of Gamers, if you want to help support the show. Huge thank you to my wonderful co-hosts, Shane and Jake. Anything you guys want to shill?
I think, same as always, hanging out in Discords, Hall of Gamers, and Achievement Hunter. Jesus Christ, did I forget the name of my own Discord?
Oh.
Achievement Hunters Anonymous. There we go. That's the one. Oh, I froze up. Achievement Hunters Anonymous. We got it. There we go.
There we go.
Anyway. All right. Now, Shane, stop this train wreck, please.
Firehawkd.com. You can find all my stuff. I got my links to my nightly streams, daily YouTube posts, weekly blog, etc., and this very podcast.
Amazing. Also, just a shout out for everyone. Kirby has said that he will sponsor and run the word challenge going forward after this one. So I can't wait to see what insane shit he comes up with. So it's all going to be his problem going forward. Yeah, good luck. You get to enjoy this one and then just get the ridiculous clue of 42 when he was talking about the state of Montana. When he talked about Hannah Montana back in the day. Don't even get me started. The word challenge has gone through a lot of iterations over the years. But that's been episode 201. I'm Neomaster on everything True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Adios.
Peace.